Okay, this is an Edelbrock 1406 carburetor. Um, it's the what they would call the 600 CFM economy carburetor. On my C10, I have the 1405. I do not have the electric choke. I got a manual choke, and it's jetted a little bit different. But essentially, it's the same carburetor. So to take the air horn off, you got to take these screws out here. Under here is your metering rods that are controlled by a spring. You just loosen this, flip this cap around. You can pull those out. Be careful, don't lose the springs. And then take those bolts out. You got to disconnect the accelerator pump, and you got to disconnect the choke linkage, and then you can pull the air horn off. So the reason I'm telling you this is there's a float bowl here and a float bowl here. When I did that the very first time I took it apart, I had junk in both of my bowls. Again, this is on my 1405 on my C10 where I've been chasing jetting problems. So I cleaned everything. I cleaned the ports. I actually took these air horns. These are the secondaries, but I took these nozzles out. I took these off. I cleaned everything up. Put everything back together. This is after time and time again of chasing my tail. These screws here are your idle mixture screws. You turn these in till they stop, not hard, and then you back it off and turn it in half. That'll get you really close. Well, as I was working with them, those things work beautiful. I can kind of set my idle and stuff, and I was chasing a bog problem at a higher RPM, which I think was basically just stuff in the carburetor. But anyway, since then, I started having problems with this air screw wasn't doing anything. I took this air screw out and I cleaned the port. I blew air through it. Still nothing. I researched and researched and researched, and I found a website very much like mine, kind of obscure, where a guy says, hey, there's an idle air circuit. So underneath this carburetor, there's a slot. Can we see it? Yeah, see that slot? Not the hole, but the slot that back down further. That's the idle air circuit, and that helps with the transition when you just barely open the throttle. And that's where I was getting my bog, right about there. So what was happening is that idle air circuit under here. I'm not going to take this off, but where this screws on, there's a little hole and a little port. And I actually blew air. I took my air gun and blew down on both of those holes and cleaned that out, and that solved my problem. But when I say where I was having just an off idle stumble, it was literally just barely moving the throttle like that far. It would go bar, 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 and then you go further, bar, no problem. And it would idle fine. It was just that little transition. And cleaning that hole out on that side made this screw do what it was supposed to do. Truck runs beautiful.